where is my fucking energy drink? Okay. This is funny because I always say you're not supposed to curse very early during a live stream on YouTube, but it's always like the first word that I say is fuck. So Badger, we have Badger the goat. The goat. So yeah, the thing is that I always you're not supposed to curse like on the first 5 minutes, or the algorithm like fucks you up. And always like my first word is like let's fucking go, or like where's my fucking energy drink. So yeah, we're done with that already. We'll wait for a little bit to see if anyone else shows up, and I'll start talking about stupid fights very soon. Yeah, I'm trying to do the next like the fall preview. I'm trying to do it like way earlier. Like the last few times I have done that at like I think like 9 p.m. my time. That's like way too late for most of you. So what I'm doing is that I'm doing my tape study right now. That's why I was posting clips of Savid and Willy Cat yesterday, because I'm watching for that fight. And the idea is to have that all the tape study like very ready very early on Monday, so I can do that for like I don't know like 5 p.m. my time, hopefully, so more people can join. It is a lot more fun when there is more people to talk with. So hopefully more people can join next week. Okay, so I'm going to set up my stuff to start recording the podcast. If anyone joins, that's cool. I'll get ready my tabs for things to talk about. I have like a very old second monitor, like an old TV, so the resolution is very low. It's like 720p. When I put the tabs on that screen, they look like fucking huge. I don't even know the YouTube emotes. Like let me check. Yeah, these are fire, man. These emotes are actually pretty good. we need to add those to the Discord server for sure. Okay, I have my tabs and shit. Hey Blaine, what's up? Happy to see you around. The man from the fight library. I'm like finishing setting up some stuff to start talking about stupid fights. So you can guys chime in or make any questions. If you guys want to, I can talk about the PFL. I haven't checked the card yet, but I guess Guess that's something we can do. So I'm getting my tabs ready, and we'll start talking about. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Happy to have you around. Next week card is pretty decent. I feel it's better than. Oh yeah, Dawson is pretty cool, man. I actually hated him for a while, but I've come around. I think I like Grant Dawson for sure. He's so dominant, man. Yeah, but I usually talk about all the fights. I didn't watch these fights live, but I did catch up. Yeah. Dalsim. But I haven't been up to Street Fighter 6 action. I used to watch a lot of Street Fighter 4 and 5. I didn't actually play them, but okay. Oh yeah, there's actually like a lot of fight announcements that I want to catch up. A lot that I didn't talk. I haven't talked in any podcast. Oh, okay. Give me a little second, guys. I'll be back very soon. For fuck's sake, man. Like, getting a call, it wasn't labeled as spam, and it was like some guy offering some phone plans. Yeah, I put my phone on do not disturb. I thought it was from like the hospital or something. Okay. Well, why would I want to start talking like we have like a million fight announcements? And a lot of these are like actually important, so I can't skip them. My god, there's so many fight announcements that I need to sort through. Okay, I guess that's it. Okay, we'll start the podcast now then. No, I'm not. These are not wired. What the fuck? What's up, everyone? I'm Feño from the Fight Site, and this is the Early Prelims podcast. We're here to recap the action from the last UFC fight night, Royval versus Taira. We'll talk about the next event, that is Fluffy Hernandez against Michel Pereira, and we talk about some fight announcements as well. So last week we had yet another Apex event. I wasn't too excited about this one. I thought the main event was very good, and the main event was actually very good. We had Brandon Royval facing off against Tatsuro Taira, so Taira getting like a big step up in competition against Royval. This fight was very interesting going in because I didn't think much of Royval in his fight against Moreno. I think he looked like regressed in comparison to how he looked previously. I didn't think Royval showed up his best against Pantoja either, but he's now like 0-2 against Pantoja, so I don't think Royval deserves title shot even after this win. I don't know why the UFC decided to build this as a title shot opportunity. I guess they were expecting Taira to win, especially with how controllable on the ground Royval has looked and how like non-damaging his striking looked in the Moreno fight. But actually Royval showed the fuck up in this for this fight. It was actually pretty cool. So the dynamic here was that Royval actually tried to defend takedowns for once. He was very urgent about getting underhooks, getting to the fence and fighting grips over there. But Taira was still able to get his use his tricks, the classic like hooking the leg to get to the back, and then work his like mat return game and his tricky like back takes from stand up. He tried the broomstick sweep that he did against Alex Perez. He tried a lot of his tricks and he got the fight to the ground quite a few times. But Royval was winning the striking like super pretty wide, even though the defense from Royval was kind of sketchy, and I don't think he still is not punching very hard, but he showed up with a more damaging approach this time around, and I appreciate that. Royval was connecting, especially surprising Taira with very long uppercuts that I don't think Taira was expecting. Taira still did some work with his very, very straight right. That is a very good punch that he has. While Royval a lot more janky with her punching mechanics, but a lot more relaxed, a lot more in the moment. A better, you can tell, a more comfortable striker when it comes to shove, and it showed a lot of cool grappling sequences. Royval obviously his tendency to twirl and wall walk, exposing his back against the fence, was a problem in this fight. Taira was able to get the back a lot of times, get him to the ground. Royval showed up his scrambling, his transition to leg locks was very helpful in this fight to get out of trouble numerous times. And it was a very exciting fight. It looked around round 3 that Taira was done. Royval tried to grapple with him, didn't pan out, tried to go for an armbar. I don't think it was that bad of an idea. He probably missed a 10-8 round because he ended up with Taira on his back though. But they were 2-2 heading into the 5th round. And Royval actually made the adjustment. His corner told him, "Do not expose your back when defending the takedowns," and he didn't. They went into more of a traditional wrestling scramble, and Royval popped up on top. So that was actually very interesting because it was Royval getting the top position and securing the fight for sure. So that's a big win for Royval. I don't think this looks too bad on Taira. Taira obviously still has a lot of space to grow. He's only... Is he 24 or 26? I have a little bit of a confusion here. But we'll get... So Taira is only 24, so you should expect him to get better. One problem with Taira is that he has been fighting for 8 years now, so he should be around his prime despite his young age. He might be able to have like around like 4 years before actually reaching his prime, but you would not expect him to grow as much. I don't think Taira is going to actually turn into a super good striker at this moment. He's already 17 fights into his career, so I think he'll get better, but I don't think we'll get to see him to get like an Islam Makhachev level where he actually transformed into a very good striker. Because Makhachev, you can tell that he always had some very good fundamentals. He was always more on a more like technical side than Habib, and that's why we've seen that Islam turn into this very good grappler. But he can get better for sure, and I expect Taira to get better. So I think if you were going to lose, and he showed his grit in this fight, some people were like disappointed with the cardio, but even though he was tired, he was still like pushing very hard for takedowns. He was still striking with some speed, so I think his cardio is fine. It's just that it was like a first time experience for him, and I think this will be a growing moment for the career of Tatsuro Taira. For Royval, is it title shot next? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. If if Albasi went to win against Brandon Moreno, I would rather see Albasi get the title shot, to be honest. Against the winner of Pantoja versus Asakura. We'll talk about that later, but let's get back into the card. So yeah, the main event was great. If you didn't watch any fights, make sure to watch Royval versus Taira. One of the best fights of the year for sure. It was very exciting. Let's check up with the chat. And I'm live streaming right now for those that are listening to the recorded version. Nash says Sylvian, yeah, had a little like evolution thing going on there. Blaine says round 3 was about as fun as a round can be. Yeah, that round was crazy, man, because Taira looked done for, and then like I think like Royval tried to style on him with the grappling, and it didn't pan out. So it was a bit of a bad decision, but it made it fun. Blaine also says, feel like Aikara France is ahead of Royval too. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, I think Royval versus Kaikara France, they could rematch for a title shot. I actually would be on board for that. But I'd rather see Kaikara France or Albasi. Albasi is the more interesting, and he hasn't beat Moreno yet, so we don't know. Maybe Moreno beats Albasi, right? But if Albasi were to win, I think give the title shot to Albasi because he's a new face. For those of you that don't know, Kaikara France actually fought Pantoja in the Ultimate Fighter, and Pantoja win against him as well. One interesting thing again about Kaya Sakura is that his last loss was to Ogikubo, and Ogikubo beat Pantoja in that Ultimate Fighter season. That Ultimate Fighter season was fucking stacked, man. It was coached by Joe Benavides and Henry Cejudo too, so it was like the rare Ultimate Fighter season that had like very good coaches and very good roster, because it was like all champions from smaller organizations, all flyweight champions. It was very cool. If you want to rewatch any season of the Ultimate Fighter, I would recommend that one. So the co-main event saw Young Young Park against Brad Tavares. Young Young Park, one of my favorite middleweights. He got like clanked with a hard right hand on the first round, so he probably lost that one. But then he went to work with the jab, leg kick, change up, and then on the third round, very impressive with the takedown. Obviously, like Brad Tavares is past it, but his takedown defense has remained very impressive. And Young Young Park was able to take him down, take the back to his staff. So yeah, it was a very cool performance. Weirdly, the second round was kind of close, but I was still thought that Young Young Park was a clear winner of the round, and they gave one judge. I think it was Sal D'Amato. It's always Sal D'Amato. They gave the second round to Tavares, so this went to a split. But I thought it was a very clear win for the Iron Turtle. We all love the Iron Turtle, right? He's pretty fun to watch. Shidi and Jukwani for Jared Gooden. Jared Gooden tried to grapple like super hard in this fight, and it did not work out. Because that's not his A game, and Chidi is not that bad of a grappler, and Chidi was like eating him alive inside the clinch. So yeah, good for Chidi and Jukwani. Jared Gooden is probably going to be cut for the second time, which sucks because he seems like a cool guy and has put on some fun fights. I guess the UFC was expecting this one to be a fun fight, and then Jared Gooden tried to grapple, so the UFC is probably not going to like that. Grant Dawson fought Rafa Garcia. This one is interesting because Rafa Garcia is a wrestler himself, and Grant Dawson just showed up with his and actually he looked pretty loose in the striking, throwing some fast kicks. Grant Dawson never been like that terrible striker, but then the grappling, man, the takedowns. Rafa Garcia was trying to defend, but Grant Dawson's so good at chaining the takedown attempts, and I think Grant Dawson wasn't even like a very high level wrestler. I think he only wrestled high school, but he's so good, man. He's so good. He's single leg, and that's the thing. Grant Dawson is obviously very strong, very big. I don't know how he used to make 145, but his wrestling is actually very efficient. He has to muscle at times. He has that option, but his single leg series is actually pretty technical. He's very tight when he runs the pipe. He can chain into the high crotch. He can finish with the trip. He's very technical with his stuff, and when he gets to the ground, Grant Dawson is a fucking problem, man, because he's so heavy from top position. And one of the few guys in current day MMA that has good striking from top without getting to like the very dominant positions. Grant Dawson, you stay on close guard, and he's going to nail you with punches and elbows, because he's not afraid to bust your up, because he's like so aware. It would be interesting to see Grant Dawson like deal with a leg lock specialist, if he can still like maintain his top positions. But he's becoming like a very interesting fighter, and a very good fighter to watch and learn from his top position stuff. Daniel Rodriguez fought Alex Morono. I said this was a jank weight fight, and it was janky as hell, man. Morono kind of being the quicker guy early. D-Rod, I think he pulled ahead with his superior footwork. Morono struggles with southpaws a lot of the time. Daniel Rodriguez has like pretty janky punching mechanics, even though he can throw like a very pretty straight left here and there. He nailed Morono at one time with one of those, but yeah, it was mainly the footwork and the defense. He was like going like 1-2 and then pulling back because he had like good weight distribution. Morono is very janky. He applies a lot of the good concepts. Like he tries to like attack and move his head or angle out, but the execution is always very like funny. He has like very weird mechanics. It's like you describe the concepts, but you did not give him the correct mechanics to implement those. But yeah, I mean, it was alright. I didn't think much of that fight. Ramazan Temirov fought CJ Vergara. Didn't think Temirov looked great here. A lot of people were super high on him. He hits hard. He's very athletic. He's a jacked dude for 125. And he feints, but he's all like super big movements. He's like out of balance a lot of the time. Finishing sequence, I mean, he's a monster of an athlete, so of course he looked good. And he found the body punches at the end, but it took him so long, man. Like CJ was covering up. The body punches were there very early. CJ, I think, did not look good here. I think CJ is kind of underrated. He made Taira work for his win. He has decent wins. But yeah, didn't look good here. Not throwing much. I don't know what's the deal. The problem with CJ Vergara is that he's kind of skilled everywhere, but I don't know, man. It's like he never fights like the right game plan. I never know what CJ Vergara wants to do inside the cage, and that can be kind of frustrating. He has been taking a lot of like hard prospects, so I don't know if the UFC is going to cut him or not. Hopefully not. But yeah, that's it. Pat Sabatini fought Jonathan Pierce. Sabatini, man, a great grappler. And actually a pretty decent wrestler. Sabatini is another guy that I don't think didn't wrestle at a very high level in college. And he trains with Chan Brady, who is also like a very good wrestler. And a very good grappler, Sabatini. I was expecting these guys to kind of go to war on the floor. But Jonathan Pierce fucked up during that back take. And Sabatini got the rear naked choke. Like, very impressive, actually, to tap a grappler like Jonathan Pierce, because one thing is to do it like during a transition, like Tuvarao did, but another thing is like just go like straight at him and catch the rear naked choke from standing. Let's catch up with the chat a little bit. Iron Turtle has amazing pressure for middleweight. Yeah, I like the game from the Iron Turtle. He's not like the most athletic dude in the division, but I feel like he pressures very well. I love that pressuring behind the jab and the calf kick is very effective. He has some good elbows when people try to crash into him, and he's a very good grappler, so he gets those spaces to. It's easier for a grappler to pressure because the other fighter is like wondering about the takedown, right? Blaine says, I feel like Alex Morono can be a good coach one day. He has really good ideas all of the time. Yeah, I feel like Morono is probably a very good coach. Seems like a Seems like a guy that it's a good talker as well. I feel like he can empathize with fighters. I feel like Morono actually has like a bright future as a coach. I agree with that. We have a fight. We had a fight between Temba Gorimbo against Nico Price. This was junk weight again. Gorimbo, I'm not a big fan, man. He's athletic, he's big, he's well rounded, but he has like the. And I don't blame his coaches for teaching him this because Gorimbo has no wrestling background, right? But he's like, when you're a big, strong guy, just take people down is the easiest thing that you can learn, and that's what Gorimbo is doing. Gorimbo is not putting together a very like comprehensive striking game. He has good technique sometimes, but he's a lot of big movements, big feints, and then he just goes for the takedowns because he's very strong, he's quick, and from top position, he's actually pretty decent, but nothing like, I don't know, like flashy. It's that Gorimbo is decent. I just not a big fan. And Nico Price, Nico Price is like, he depends now that he's old and he's not like very athletic and dynamic anymore. He's like this gritty veteran with like janky fundamentals, so he depends a lot on his opponent fucking up to win. And Gorimbo was not making many mistakes to capitalize on. Junior Tafa fought Shan Sharaf. Tafa fighting out of like a shoulder roll stance. Unlike his brother, because Justin Tafa is like a southpaw and he's a very dangerous kicker. Junior is mostly a boxer. And he has both guys, Justin and Junior Tafa, the Tafa brothers, both have quite a few fights in kickboxing and boxing and professionally. But Junior seems more of a boxer. Junior is an orthodox, and he fights out of like a shoulder rolling stance, and he's actually pretty decent at that. The problem is that he gets very exposed to leg kicks and to takedowns, and he's not much of a grappler. He's pretty athletic though, so and he had a very cool reversal during one takedown here. But yeah, I mean, Junior Tafa has very fast hands for heavyweight. He counters well, and he's hard to hurt on the feet. He's actually pretty hard to hurt because he actually covers himself pretty well behind that rear high hand, the lead shoulder, and he rolls with punches pretty well. You can tell that he's an experienced striker, even if you don't think he's a pretty good one. I think he's pretty good actually. But yeah, Junior Tafa, I mean, put him against strikers because he's exciting, man. Just don't put him against wrestlers all the time. Julia Polastri fought Cory McKenna. Julia, just a monster of an athlete, man. She was just walking her down. She reminded me, not as skilled, but the confidence and the use of the athleticism in a positive way. She reminded me of like Jan Silva a little bit. She's just like so in the moment. She can make up for the failings that she might have technically with good instincts and just pushing the fight in the faces that she's better than. She got kind of exposed at the end of the fight when Cory McKenna finally got a double leg takedown because Polastri got kind of lazy defending the takedown against the fence. But I thought Polastri looked pretty good here. Tough luck for Cory McKenna. And I thought Cory looked decent here. Like there was some clear improvements to her striking. She was trying to connect to her wrestling, so it was just a tough fight. Ngannou carries solid. Chris Cyborg, Johnny Evelyn, AJ McKee. Okay, we'll check that. We'll check the PFL card when I'm done with the preview. I mean, with the recap of this event. We can talk about the PFL for sure, especially if he has like solid names. We'll get into that. Cody Haddon fought Dan Argueta. It was, a bit of an exciting fight, but it was a mess of a fight because it was mostly like a striker looking kind of janky striking. That was Cody Haddon against a wrestler that looked kind of janky wrestling. That was Dan Argueta. I mean, it was a bit of a mess, man. Cody Haddon looked like he could be in a lot of fun fights, and Argueta is usually in fun fights too. But man, Argueta has like all the problems with the classic like Winklejohn Jackson fighter. He's like a transition fighter that doesn't have a lot of connective tissue. All big movements, lacks like a very good jab. then he spends a lot of energy trying to accomplish things on the wrestling, and when it comes to the time to transitions, he doesn't do a lot of damage during transitions. So he's not getting a good return to his investment when it comes to the wrestling, I would say, Dan Argueta. He needs to adjust his style, man. He needs to go for a more damaging style. This isn't panning out. He's not able to get super heavy control positions in this division. And when he doesn't get the takedowns that he wants, he ends up more tired than his opponent. And Argueta, I can tell he has a decent gas tank, but he doesn't gas the gas tank to push this insane of a pace in every fight. It's not panning out. And the opener was Clayton Carpenter against Lucas Rocha. I remember Carpenter from a Contender Series. He had a pretty good fight against Edgar Chairez. I don't think he won that fight, but he won the fight and he got signed. Here, this fight was looking pretty cool on the feet. Like, Rocha was countering to the body, doing some cool stuff. Carpenter is a fun striker to watch too. Then Carpenter got a takedown, and it was like, there's levels to this, because Rocha had nothing for Carpenter from the bottom. Couldn't get up, and then on the second round, Carpenter got a rear naked choke. So, good stuff for him. And good for flyweight, man, to get more fighters and get in motion. Let's talk about some fight announcements, and then we'll get into the PFL and the UFC cards. First, Charles Radke will fight Matthew Semmelsberger. I mean, Semmelsberger has been so disappointing, man. And Radke a bit of an overperformer, right? Because I don't think he's that good, and he won 2 fights, one by impressive knockout, but then he got put on his place by Prates, right? I think Radke's going to win here. Like, I don't know, Semmelsberger seems a bit of a head case. He doesn't put it together to win fights. Radke, on the other hand, like, he doesn't do anything like super well, but it seems like he actually knows how to win a fight, so I'm going with Radke there. Randy Brown is fighting Brian Battle. We saw Brian Battle struggle a little bit with the length of the French guy. I don't remember the name, in his last fight in France. And Randy Brown is even taller, right? The thing is that Brian Battle kicks very hard, and Randy Brown has gotten his legs kicked under him quite a few times. So that's probably the approach that Brian Battle is going to take. Randy Brown pretty hard to grapple. I think that Brian Battle likes to do, and but Randy Brown is probably the sleeker boxer, and he's not going to fall to the volume punching that Brian Battle put on his last fight. So this is actually pretty interesting. I like this matchmaking a lot, actually. Justin Tafa was supposed to fight Kennedy Nzechukwu, but he's out. Chris Barnett is fighting Kennedy Nzechukwu now. I already did tape study for this. Interesting to see Nzechukwu up at heavyweight now. He was supposed to fight De Lima first, then Tafa, and now Barnett. Barnett is kind of a forgiving matchup in the sense that he's like very short, and Nzechukwu likes his clinch stuff. We've seen Barnett struggle in the clinch before, so yeah. But obviously Barnett is a hitter, and we've seen Nzechukwu put out in the past. Maybe heavyweight helps with the durability, right? Vicente Luque is fighting Nick Diaz at UFC 310 on December. I'm okay with this. Like, I'd rather see these guys fighting each other than like up-and-comers, so I'm okay with that. Pantoja is defending against Kai Asakura. So does Asakura deserve the title shot? Let me open my energy drink and I'll tell you later. Today's episode is sponsored by Score Energy Drink. Actually, no. Actually, I bought that myself. So yeah, does Kai Asakura deserve a title shot? I'm not sure, man. He's only on a 2-fight winning streak. He fought to Ogi Kubo like not long ago. So I don't know, man. I'm not sure about this one. There's guys in the division, right? They could have waited for the winner of Moreno Albasi. They could have made Royval versus Kai Kara France. They could have given the title shot immediately to Kai Kara France. I I understand Kaya Sakura is big in Japan. He has a big YouTube channel, but I don't think he's that deserving, man. And the other thing is that Kaya Sakura, despite fighting a lot of flyweights, he has been fighting at bantamweight for the last like 6 or 7 years. So that's concerning, right? Does he has the size to make? And Kaya Sakura doesn't look small. Like he looks small next to Juan Archuleta, who has fought at featherweight a lot in his career. So is Kai going to be able to make weight? I don't know. When it comes to the fight, the fight I think it's pretty interesting because Kai has improved his takedown defense a lot. He's very aggressive on the feet. He's technical. He probably has an edge on the feet, but you can discount Pantoja. Pantoja is aggressive. He puts combinations together. He leg kicks hard. And then on the ground, obviously Pantoja has a big advantage on the ground. And we'll see how Asakura fares in a 5-round fight, because it's kind of different to what they're doing over there in Rising. Even though they obviously have like the long first round, but still. Bilal Mohammed is going to defend his title against Shavkat Rakhmonov. This one is very interesting. Obviously, I'm expecting Shavkat to be like a big favorite moving into the fight, but I'm very curious about how Bilal is going to approach this one, right? What is Bilal going to do is, I'm guessing he's going to try and pressure. It wouldn't make sense to stay at kicking range against Shavkat. And Shavkat look at his most vulnerable when he's being pushed back, right? So I'm expecting like Bilal to try to like stay in his face, put his boxing combinations together, and then like push him against the fence. Shavkat is very good in the clinch, but I've seen him like be a little bit on the lazy side when he has been pushed against the fence. We saw a little bit of that against Cowboy Oliveira in his debut. Was that his debut? I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, I don't think this is unwinnable for Bilal. I'm still like, without making a lot of tape study, I think Shavkat should get this, but it's a very interesting fight. It's not a wash, man. This is not like, oh, Bilal is dead. Like, Bilal has avenues here. And you know, Bilal like shows up with coherent ideas. He has good attributes, and he's there for the long run. Even though he lost that 5th round against Leon Edwards, I think Bilal is dangerous in a long fight, and we don't know if Shavkat is, because Shavkat has been able to control the pace of the fights usually. He got pretty tired in that fight against Neil when the pace got out of hand a little bit. Obviously, he finished the fight late. But still, like, this could get very interesting if it goes late. Puna Hele Soriano is fighting Uros Medic. Interesting. I'm guessing Puna is going to try to wrestle here. Uros Medic, other than that, was it Odolbai? The fight, he has looked pretty decent defending takedowns. But, you know, like, Puna is big and strong and a good wrestler down at 170. So, interesting fight. Neil Magny is fighting Carlos Prates. So this is the test, right? Every welterweight, most welterweights that are trying to take the next big step at welterweight, they gotta go through Neil Magny. We've seen some fighters pass it with flying colors. For example, like Ian Gary and Shavkat Rakhmonov were able to like decimate Neil Magny and look very good. And then we saw like the Canadian guy, I don't remember, but he failed, man. He got finished in that fight against Neil Magny. The UFC has so many fighters that even though I watch all the fights, I don't even remember the names nowadays. But yeah, this is a big test for Prates. I'm expecting Prates to win here because he's so good in the clinch and he has some like good ring craft. So that could get interesting. But you never know when the Neil Magny CC Hypno clinch is going to take effect on a guy. So it's a good test. We'll see if fighting nerds keep the streak going, right? Tatiana Suarez is fighting Birna Jandirova. Very interesting fight, but I would say either of these girls should be fighting for the title. I don't get why they are making them fight each other. Wei Li should be defending her title already. I don't know what's going on there. Rough fight for Birna, I guess. But who knows, because Birna is a very good grappler and has improved her wrestling a lot. Her striking has looked better too. Guessing Tatiana will have like a decent speed advantage, power advantage on the feet as well. But Birna is crafty, man. Birna looked very impressive in that fight against Amanda Lemos. She had like no trouble at all and was like handling herself well on the feet. Tatiana coming into this fight kind of rusty, right? So who knows where Tatiana is at after so many surgeries, time off, all that. Birna comes with the momentum, so I'm guessing that I'm still favoring Tatiana, but do not discount my girl Birna, man. And the winner here against Wei Li is a very interesting fight because Wei Li has turned in such a grappler as of late. So it would be interesting how she does against like a more, because the thing is that Carla Esparza, when she fought Wei Li, way past it, right? Not a physical match either. Birna and Tatiana are like big girls that are very strong and are like actually in their primes. So that would be interesting. My guess is that Wei Li would try to fight like a striking fight against Tatiana, try to keep it on the feet. And against Birna, she might try to play top position, and maybe their camp will study the tendencies of Birna off her back, since we've seen Birna lose off her back against Carla Esparza way back. So yeah, I mean, but it's interesting. I'd rather see either of these girls fighting for the title already. I think both have done enough to fight for the title, so I don't actually get it, this title eliminator here. David Onama will fight Lucas Almeida. Mineiro, I think this is a pretty easy fight for Onama, but should be exciting because Almeida banks on the feet. But Onama, is well-rounded. It's probably going to take him down, mix it up. He's probably more powerful on the feet as well, so. But it's cool. Onama is cool, man. Jack Shore is fighting Youssef Salal, and this is rough for Jack Shore, right? Because like Salal is the more athletic. They're probably pretty equal on the striking, and Salal, as the stronger guy, is probably the guy that is going to be able to get takedowns because both are very good grapplers. It's like they are very similar, but Salal is just bigger, faster, so it's kind of rough matchmaking for Jack Shore here. It sucks. I mean, I feel like Jack Shore is like in an awkward place in between bantamweight and featherweight. Like he's clearly his frame too big for bantamweight. But it seems like he has trouble putting a lot more size to be competitive physically with the big featherweights, right? So that's kind of rough. So that's the fight announcements. Let's get into that. Let's get into that PFL card. We'll get into the UFC card, and we'll get out of here. So yeah, let's get into PFL. So we have PFL Super Fights Battle of the Giants. Main event is Francis Ngannou versus Renan Ferreira. I don't think much of this fight, to be honest. Both guys are very big, hit hard. Let's see if Ngannou puts some of his boxing training into good use into this fight, or if he's going to wrestle. There's a chance he's going to wrestle here, right? Ngannou's actually turned into a solid top position guy just because he's so big, so explosive. Ferreira is very big, but I don't know. I don't expect Ferreira to be as strong as Ngannou. Ferreira, obviously, he can hit for sure, right? So he can put Francis out. I would not be surprised. But I guess the logical pick here is to pick Ngannou. It doesn't make sense to pick anything else. Co-main event is a lot more interesting, I think. It's Chris Cyborg against Larissa Pacheco. Larissa is a big girl. She's so scrappy. She's so tough. So I feel like Chris Cyborg is a lot better as a striker and as a wrestler. But the thing is that Cyborg is getting kind of old, right? And maybe the gas tank doesn't hold up. Maybe she has a sketchy moment with her shin. And Pacheco is like, she turned into a very resourceful fighter with those Kayla Harrison fights. She has become such a solid scrambler from bottom. Her gas tank, she hits hard. So this is a very interesting fight. I'm actually excited about this one. The Bellator middleweight championship is being defended. Johnny Evelyn is fighting Fabian Edwards, the brother of Leon Edwards. Didn't this guy fight already? I think I didn't watch that fight. Yeah, so I don't know what to think about this. Evelyn is pretty good. I wish we got to see Evelyn in the UFC, actually. And then down the card, we have like Hussein Kadimagomedov against Safar Moxen. No idea who those are. AJ McKee is in action against Paul Hirsch. That's a good fight, actually. My boy Rofion Stotts is fighting Marcos Breno. Not familiar with Breno, but Rofion. For me, Rofion Stotts is a must see. It's always an exciting fight. He has such an exciting style. Too bad he lost against Pachi, right? Hopefully we can see the rematch between Rofion and Pachi soon. And yeah, that's kind of the card. I'm not familiar with the rest of the fighters. Obviously, Francis Ngannou is like a big attraction in MMA, right? You don't want to miss a Francis Ngannou fight. And he's fighting a very big dude, so that's always fun. Chris Cyber versus Larissa Pacheco is actually a very interesting fight. Johnny Evelyn in action is always cool to see. Let's see if Fabian Edwards brings some adjustments this time around. I feel like Fabian has potential. He's obviously not as good as Leon. He's never going to be, but he's a good fighter. He's athletic. He's good, man. And with that, we'll get to the preview of Fluffy versus Pereira. So yeah, main event is Michel Pereira, Demolidor, against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. So this is obviously, does Pereira get the early knockout, or does Fluffy drown him going late into the fight, right? This is like pretty obviously the two ways that this fight is going to pan out. Pereira has some interesting stuff here, especially his love for the straight right to the body that he has right now. We know that Fluffy has been vulnerable to the body, got hurt a little bit by Kopylov with body kicks. It was how Kevin Holland finished him back in the day. Pereira has also like a stabbing front kick to the body that he can hurt people with. But Anthony Hernandez has some kind of pressure. He's not going to hang around at open space like some dude waiting for Pereira to land a big shot. And when Hernandez is at open space, like biding his time, he actually has pretty decent defense. He has tools to pressure people on the feet, especially like when he shifts into his right hand and he doubles it up as a right hook. Those are some cool looks that he used to pressure Kopylov after Kopylov had a very successful first round. And we know Fluffy is very tough and the cardio for days. And Michel Pereira obviously probably has better cardio now at 185, but it's a different thing when you gotta defend against the grappling and the wrestling from Fluffy, especially because the style of Fluffy is so grueling. The way he mixes the rights, the traditional jiu-jitsu positions, he allows you to work out your way to your feet, only to land a big elbow and then work a mat return. It's very, very tiring. And that's another thing. Like, Hernandez obviously has very good gas tank, but also he makes sure that you're working harder than him. And that's like the complete opposite from what we were saying about Argueta, for example, that he works so hard and he gets more tired than his opponent. So yeah, it's a very interesting fight. Obviously, I'm rooting for Fluffy. He's like my favorite middleweight right now. Michel Pereira is obviously cool as well, but gotta go with my boy Fluffy, man. Badger says, watching Fluffy's jits and living my wish fulfillment fantasy as I play the Brock Bomb version of it in the gym, man. Yeah. Man, I haven't been on the mats for a while, but I really want to cosplay Fluffy, man. just wrist rights guys, allow them to work back up, and then just like high crush from the back. That kind of like nasty shit. Just grind on dudes. It's probably a lot of fun. And then just set up the front headlock when they are getting tired. I mean, my cardio is nowhere near where it needs to be to play that kind of game right now. But I've been riding bicycle a lot lately, so maybe my cardio is improving. But for a while, I was like a fat power lifter, even, but I was not fat. But I was like, I had the soul of a fat guy for the last 2 years, man. No cardio at all. Co-main event is Rob Font against Kyler Phillips. This could be very interesting if Rob Font wasn't shot. I mean, Rob Font looked okay against Figueiredo, but the takedown defense was very concerning. You know, Kyler Phillips likes to mix in the takedowns. Kyler Phillips very quick. I feel like Rob Font should have a big advantage when it comes to the striking if he got to like set up his jab and start putting stuff behind his jab. But Kyler Phillips moves a lot, mixing the takedowns. I feel like Kyler Phillips is an annoying fight, even for a prime Rob Font. But at this stage, it's like, I just feel like this fight is going to suck, right? So not very excited for that one, to be honest. Sumo Derji is fighting Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson, the villain of the week, Twitter, because he said that Kaya Sakura didn't deserve the title shot because he was fighting rice makers and scooter repairmen. I don't think it was that racist. I mean, it's like, it's kind of sketchy, but I don't know. And strangely, he's fighting like an Asian dude. Obviously not a Japanese guy, a Chinese dude in Sumo Derji. I feel like this should be a very easy fight for Charles Johnson. Kinda dangerous early. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Charles Johnson is just superior to Sumo Derji. Has better cardio, more crafty striker. He's a better wrestler too. So yeah, it should be a banger though. Brady Highstand is fighting Jake Hadley. I like Jake Hadley a lot, but Brady Highstand, man, it's a fucking grinder. Kind of a bit of like a Fluffy Hernandez style, but not as cool. Brady Highstand just pushes so hard with the takedowns. He's insane. And Jake Hadley showed improved and better takedown defense against Colin Loughran in his last fight, but is he going to be up to the task of Brady Highstand? I'm not sure, man. I really wish Jake Hadley won here because I like Jake Hadley a lot, but I feel like this is a tough matchup. Darren Elkins is fighting Daniel Pineda. This one is a lot of fun because it's like they are old, and this is the kind of fight that they should be getting at this stage. I hope they grapple. Darren Elkins in a Scramble Fest is always a lot of fun. Daniel Pineda is such a good grappler, man. And from top position, Daniel Pineda is a monster, and not a lot of guys are able to maintain top position against Darren Elkins, who is such a crafty scrambler. Darren Elkins is not only a very good wrestler, but he's such a good scrambler as well from jiu-jitsu positions. So this should be a lot of fun. Pineda, obviously, a big power advantage on the feet, but Elkins put a lot of numbers on the feet, and he's better than you would expect when you see how sketchy his technique is. So this is a very fun fight. Mateusz Nicolau is fighting Asu Almabayev. This fight is great. Very interesting to see because Almabayev had some trouble with CJ at some moments. Nicolau is more athletic. He's a better wrestler. And the more important part is that he's a better striker by a long shot. So Nicolau is going to try to play his like pressure as his counter punching game here while defending takedowns. I would guess. And Almabayev is very crafty with his takedowns, but Nicolau has resources from his back, so it's a very, very good fight. One of the highest level fights of all weekend for sure. Brad Katona is fighting Jan Matsumoto. Matsumoto has been wrestlable in the past, right? But Matsumoto is very aggressive on the field. Katona is not a guy that you can just beat by being aggressive. He's so tough. He pushes such a high pace. And Katana, if he needs to be boring and control you from top position, he's going to do it. He's not afraid to do that. He's not afraid to be a lame dude at all. So yeah, I mean, that's a cool fight. Jocelyn Edwards versus Tamiris Vidal is whatever. Like, why, man? Jessica Pena is back against Elise Reed. I don't know, man. Jessica Bennett doesn't seem like she has the power at this age to get takedowns, and on the feet she's kind of stiff. Elise Reed is not very good, but she kicks hard. She's fast. I'm expecting Reed to win here. Elise Ardeline is fighting Melissa Martinez. This should be like fun, like well-rounded fight. No, I don't have a problem with that. Ardeline had a very close fight in her debut. And Melissa Martinez was looking decent in her fight against Elise Reed, so it's whatever. And the opener we have the return of Robelis de Spain after being fraud checked by Waldo Cortez Acosta, and he fighting Austin Lane. We saw Austin Lane get a takedown against an athletic guy and then just get tired and get knocked out in the past. So if that is that going to happen again this fight? Maybe. Or is Robelis just going to like knock him out immediately? I don't know. It would be funny if Austin Lane got the win here though. But yeah, that's the event. Fights to look out for. Katona versus Matsumoto is alright. Nicolau versus Amabayev is very good. Darren Elkis versus Daniel Pineda I actually like a lot. Brady Haystand versus Jake Hadley is good. Super Dirty versus Charles Johnson is good. The main event is good. This event I feel is on paper is a lot better than last week, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's the event, and that's the podcast. Thank you for everyone that joined live. As always, I'll be putting the recorded version up on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. So yeah, if you want to support me and the Fight Site as an ongoing project, you can head over to Patreon. For only $5, you can join our Discord server. That is very cool. And for any amount, you get access to a lot of exclusive content that we have going on here. This week, I'm putting a video of Anthony Hernandez that was was only for paid members. It's actually for all members, so you can join for free and get access to that Anthony Hernandez video. And I also put an Asu Almabayev takedown breakdown for free that was actually for paid members as well. And I'll be putting new content for the paid members this week. I'm not sure what right now, but I'll be putting something, so watch out for that. Thank you so much for your support, guys. Thank you for everyone that joined in the chat. And I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm Feño. I'm